Sup, nerds? Do you ever just look up to the sky on a clear night and think,
Space.
whoa, is that the Super Mario Galaxy? There was just something magical about Super Mario Galaxy. If you let it, Super Mario Galaxy will just whisk you off to a world of wonder beyond what we could fathom. Or what is physically possible, for that matter. Mario should be hurtling through space half the time, but apparently the laws of physics just don't apply here. This game has been with me since I was a wee little lad, and it never quite left me. It's a game that, by all means, should sound stupid in concept, and yet in delivery, it's anything but. Super Mario Galaxy's conception was strange. Its console of origin was the Wii, so you can imagine that immediately the designers had to find a good way to integrate the Wiimote and nunchuck gimmicks. Beyond that, Yoshiaki Koizumi and Shigeru Miyamoto, both Nintendo legends by the way, were getting into it with each other on how Galaxy should be built up from its foundation. Koizumi had a soft spot for storytelling and narrative, while Miyamoto wanted gameplay and fun factor put first. All the while, the composers Mahito Yokota and Koji Kondo were in an odd situation. The developers of the game believed that an orchestrated soundtrack would detract from the gameplay. Sound director Masafumi Kawamura advocated heavily against this point, instead fighting tooth and nail for an orchestral score. And what we got was obviously the best possible outcome, and anyone who says this soundtrack isn't that good is not human, or is insane. The divide on all sides resulted in something wholly unique. The soundtrack splits itself between that classic Mario vibe and some beautiful Space Odyssey-worthy orchestrations. And as for Miyamoto and Koizumi, both developers were trying their hardest to have their way with the game, but somehow, they both managed to get a little bit of what they wanted. Though, I do think that Koizumi managed to just barely squeak in more influence. Miyamoto certainly got what he wanted out of the game. It's a masterpiece of easy play that doesn't take away from making it challenging or fun for more advanced players. Galaxy is a dream to control, if not a little stiff. A good amount of the movement tech from 64 and Sunshine is excised for accessibility and ease of play, with a new spin move introduced as a Swiss Army knife of platforming and combat. The levels are also wildly imaginative, without being too easy or boring. While Miyamoto absolutely got his share of the pie, Koizumi also got what he wanted. The game, while understated in the narrative department, does in fact have a story, and it is a doozy of a story indeed. Bowser is up to his usual conquest of everything and captures the princess, but he absconds to space instead. Mario is stranded and meets Rosalina, a spacefaring princess who enlists his help to stop Bowser. Which means that, by all definitions, Super Mario Galaxy is a space opera. A grand, sweeping soundtrack, a journey into the depths of space to meet many alien species, most of which are bees, which is very confusing, a philosophical examination of the meaning of life in the greater universe, and a fight against an empire intent on conquering the universe. And yet, that only describes part of Super Mario Galaxy's space opera heritage. For as much as Star Wars and Dune likely inspired aspects of Super Mario Galaxy, there's another essential part of space opera and science fantasy that had a hand in Super Mario Galaxy's aesthetic: the modern space opera. Now, this is by no means a widely used definition, but rather my own definition to distinguish the classic space operas everyone knows from the not space opera space operas. Well, I guess now I just have to see how many times I can cram opera into one sentence. Tangents aside, to look me dead in the eyes and tell me that Kubrick and Clarke's 2001: A Space Odyssey is not a space opera is to make a fool of yourself. There's no overt empire in 2001, and the depths of the cosmos extend to Jupiter, or Saturn in the book. But there is a grand soundtrack, and an incredibly rich examination of humanity and life with respect to the larger universe. The film is a modern space opera because it doesn't quite fit with the classic space operas, but it certainly wears the hallmarks of such films on its sleeve, and focuses almost entirely on the philosophy of humanity in the universe. It also happens that 2001 was revolutionary for space-based films in its time, and really changed the way space movies were understood. But that's a discussion for another time. Along that same train of thought, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is also a modern space opera. It has a sweeping score, an examination of humanity's place in the universe, and does in fact reach into the depths of space and time. Contact, the Carl Sagan classic, has a fight against a harsh government and attempts to understand the universe better and humanity's place in it. The scoring is alright, and the film takes place almost entirely on Earth, and yet It's a modern space opera. The modern space opera cranks up the introspection to 11 and acts as a thorough dive into the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, as best as is possible with our little coconut brains. Thus, Super Mario Galaxy manages to fit both definitions. It has all the hallmarks of the classic space opera, but the strange and understated themes of loneliness and deep introspection elevate Super Mario Galaxy to the realm that 2001, Interstellar, and Contact find themselves in. And this little detail that I spent a decent amount of time wasting time on is fundamental to understanding what makes Super Mario Galaxy so ethereal. Ooh, I like that word. Ethereal. Super Mario Galaxy opens on Mario enjoying this simple life, as starbits rain down upon the Mushroom Kingdom. And everyone just seems to be fine with literal star stuff raining down upon them. Like, is this shit supposed to be some kind of plasmic substance? Do I really want to know what starbits are? Oh, wait, okay, so they're like crystallized sugar? So they're chunks of sugar from the sky. I'm pretty sure that can't be good. Regardless, Mario and the Mushroom Kingdom are celebrating when Bowser decides ruining everyone else's day is something he wants to do today. He rips the castle from the ground itself and begins hauling it off into space? I'm sorry, wait, go the fuck back. Well shit, I guess they're spacefaring. Mario makes a break for the castle, but Kamek hits him from point blank and sends him into the depths of space, never to be heard from again. Oh wait, never mind, I lied, he's fine. Stranded, but fine. From here, Mario meets Rosalina, resident space princess who has a kick-ass observatory that runs off literal star power. She's all like, "Hello, Mario," and asks for his help in taking down Bowser, who is currently running a galactic empire, and, you know, trying to conquer the universe, cause what else are you gonna do? If nothing else good can be said of Bowser as a ruler, at least he's quick about it. This dude already built strongholds across the universe, and is that big of a threat? Okay, maybe Bowser actually is a good warlord. Maybe. The game proper begins, and it follows a fairly simple formula. Explore galaxies, find stars, bring them back to the observatory, rinse and repeat, until Rosalina has enough power to get the observatory to Bowser's galaxy reactor in the center of the universe, which I am both impressed and terrified that Bowser has the technology and science to know where the center of the universe is. Because either their universe is infinite, and it would take an incredibly complex piece of technology to find out the center of it, or the universe is finite and it's a lot easier to figure out, but still pretty damn hard. Or he's just that much of an egotist that he went to wherever he decided and said, this is the center of the universe. I guess the topology of the Super Mario Galaxy universe is going to keep me up tonight. The game is split up between the main hub, which is the observatory, the 6 domes, and all the different galaxies. Each of the 6 domes are named. There's the terrace, the fountain, the kitchen, the bedroom, the engine room, and the garden. Finding galaxies is split up between accessing them in the domes or finding them outside around the observatory. The main galaxies are all found in the domes, and the who cares, nobody likes these galaxies are all accessed throughout the observatory. In terms of Mario game logic, each dome is essentially a world. The terrace starts off pretty nice, you know, it's an introductory world, it's Green Hill Zone if I'm going to commit sacrilege. There's nothing mind-bogglingly hard or, like, complicated here. It starts off with Good Egg Galaxy and Honey Hive Galaxy. They serve as great introductions to the mechanics of the game. There's also these 2 annoying-ass galaxies that introduce the more gimmicky aspect of the game. Whereas Good Egg and Honey Hive are akin to the different areas in Sunshine and Super Mario 64, where there's more area to explore, Sweet Sweet Galaxy and Flip Switch Galaxy are closer to the athletic levels in the older 2D games, where more of the platforming and mechanic know-how is required to complete them. Then there's also Loop-de-Loop Galaxy, which is just pure motion control gimmicky bullshit. And there's so many of these levels, and I can't say I hate them because I understand why they're here, but they're still annoying. Altogether, there's 3 main archetypes of galaxies: exploration-based, athletic-based, and gimmick-based. And that's pretty much the composition of every dome in the game. There's also Bowser or Bowser Jr. levels, but they're pretty much what you'd expect. A boss fight and, you know, some kind of tougher platforming challenge, if you could call it that. Just outside each dome is a hungry Luma who, if fed for a varying starbit price, will decide it can just give birth to a whole new galaxy. That's not terrifying at all. Also, if it packs critical mass, wouldn't it just become a singularity? I'm getting way too deep. Some of these hungry Luma galaxies are interesting, but does anybody actually like any of these? Are any of these anyone's favorites? I have to know. All in all, the terrace is pretty tame for Galaxy. It's the fountain where the cosmic loneliness really starts to seep into Galaxy's core identity. Space Junk, Battle Rock, and Hurry Scurry Galaxies are all just lonely. They feel isolated. And the skybox for Battle Rock always reminds me of the Yavin 4 shots in Star Wars. The fountain's theme is very much that of isolation and the vastness of space. Moving on to the kitchen and the bedroom, they managed to bring back some pep into the mix with Beach Bowl, Buoy Base, and the masterpiece itself, Gusty Garden Galaxies, while still having some of the oddball, weirdo, whatever the hell galaxies. What the hell is Bubble Breeze Galaxy supposed to be? What the fuck is this place? What is this? The engine room and the garden cap things off by just throwing a plate of spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. The galaxies after the bedroom are all highly experimental and really play with the previous understanding built up of how a Super Mario Galaxy galaxy is meant to be constructed. It definitely helps because by the time the player goes through the bedroom, the galaxies just get a little stale. Toy Time, Deep Dark, and Melty Molten Galaxies are all such fun ideas, if not just a little unsettling in some ways. But honestly, there's just a whole lot of visual variety, and I can appreciate that for a game about how strange and wacky space can be. Even if the amount of ghosts, which implies dead people, is very concerning. Like, why are there so many dead people in space? What happened? Tangent aside, my favorite one-off galaxy is Matter Splatter Galaxy, as the idea is just so brilliant and out there, and I adore Melty Molten Galaxy because it's such a fun inversion on the classic lava level. And the skybox is two stars melding into each other, which is just so beautifully imaginative. In each galaxy, there's missions to get stars, and after enough goofing off, certain galaxies will have prankster comets show up, which can range from speedruns, to daredevil challenges, to purple coin collectathons, to Cosmic Mario clone races. But they're often fairly easy and end up only appearing during the post-game, so it's not really all that fun to do them back to back. The purple coin theme is a bop, but I really don't want to be collecting them over and over. I don't need this many purple coins! There's still fun and inventive spins on the galaxies though, and give more skilled players a good challenge. There's a lot of fun to be had with Galaxy's mechanics, and the developers did try to make the motion control gimmicks interesting. Emphasis on try. It doesn't mean much when this motherfucking ball is the worst thing in existence. Sure, it's easy to control, but try doing this shit as a little kid. Somehow, it was the hardest thing on Earth. I will never, and I mean never, forget how much I hated the rolling ball levels. And I still do, here and there. They're just that annoying sometimes. Wow, I did not think a ball in a video game would make me this mad. Clearly, I have some unaddressed trauma from playing Super Mario Galaxy. Galaxy's mechanics and level design are almost solely focused on enhancing the feel of traveling through space, rather than being the focal point around which the rest of the game is designed. It's an interesting decision for Mario, as many times the opposite approach is taken. Mario's moveset is designed with the utmost care, and then the world is built up around that. Now, I'm sure the developers for Galaxy still followed that metric to some extent, but at some point they definitely opted for simpler, stiffer movement tech, and created the spin as a catch-all to accommodate for the way they wanted to design the levels. None of the levels become so complex or hard that the player can get lost, and the bosses are pushovers. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, as many of the easier sections get harder remixes with prankster comets. There are times though when the camera will jolt around and all of a sudden you have no idea where you went. I'd honestly say that the only weak part of the game is the camera, but that's because a camera that needs to account for gravity and complete free 3D movement is really hard to create, so it's bound to get caught or be finicky. At its worst, Galaxy can be a weirdly stiff, annoying Wii game where the goddamn ball won't roll in the right direction. The galaxies can get stale and repetitive, and it can be a little mind-numbing to repeat missions in the same galaxies twice or 3 times over. At its best, Galaxy is a brilliantly designed and masterful exploration of the boundlessness of space, where new levels introduce new environments with fascinating concepts and ideas. Galaxy has creativity surgically attached to its heart. The Mario series is known the world over for its creativity in so many aspects, but Galaxy just does it differently. It never feels the need to adhere to any rules of design or structure with the different galaxies. There's a galaxy where you just ride a manta ray along a suspended water slide, and another that's just a giant haunted house. There's no strict rule that a galaxy has to be one thing or the other. The freedom to design and just go from there allowed the developers for Galaxy the luxury of just going ham damn wild and having fun. And honestly, I wish there was a third Galaxy game, because I always think about how much more there was to explore, even after 2 released, and was just as good as the first. But at the same time, only having 2 does make their impact and legacy that much more special. But I'm getting away from the point. After collecting enough stars, Rosalina is able to pinpoint the center of the universe, and traverse to Bowser's Galaxy Reactor. Mario pulls up and rushes through Bowser's gauntlet, challenging him and pushing him back further and further. Ultimately, Mario defeats Bowser and collapses the Galaxy Reactor. But that collapse reaches supercritical density and the entire universe begins to fold in on itself, producing a massive singularity. All the Lumas jump in, sacrificing themselves to save reality, but it isn't enough. Reality collapses, and everything is engulfed in a giant flash of light. From beyond space and time, babies' cries are heard. Mario remains suspended in a strange place, and Rosalina towers over him. She reveals that all the crying is the sound of the new stars that were birthed from the Lumas. Rosalina intervened at the last second and created a whole new universe, where everything from the previous one is preserved, but reordered in a new and unique way. She reveals that she is the mother of all reality, and sends Mario to safety. And holy fuck, Super Mario Galaxy pulled a 2001: A Space Odyssey. It completely switched stuff up in the 11th hour and provided a grand revelation on the nature of life, the universe, and everything. And this is the perfect ending for a game like Super Mario Galaxy. Except, I've been waiting to mention something integral to the plot for dramatic effect. And that something is Rosalina's storybook. And Luigi's whole thing, but I mean, he's less important, so I'll just get this out of the way quick. After finding all 120 stars once, you can do it again as Luigi, and unlock 2 extra super special stars, and a really funny interaction between 2 Luigis in Ghostly Galaxy. Getting all 242 stars nets the player the secret ending, which is a nice tip of the cap to the storybook. Back to Rosalina's storybook proper. In the library, the player can listen to Rosalina read it to the Lumas. She tells the story of her life. How she lost her mother and ran away from home. She ended up stranded in space with only the Lumas to keep her company. Through her bond with them, she became their mother and guided them to maturity, whether it be becoming a planet, a galaxy, a power star, or something even more grand. Rosalina's story is tragic, but it's a story of acceptance and growth. And it's absolutely something players should experience for themselves when they finally get the chance. The storybook also pairs brilliantly with Mario's journey through space. It recontextualizes everything. Rosalina isn't asking Mario to save power stars to stop Bowser. She's asking Mario to protect and save her children. She is the mother of all reality, and Bowser is a virus infecting her kids. So she does everything in her power to take care of her baby's sickness. But at that same time, Bowser is also her child, and no good parent likes to see their kids fight. This revelation interconnects everything in Super Mario Galaxy. To paraphrase Sagan, all things come from star stuff, and all things return to star stuff. And for those of us lucky enough to be here for it, we get to revel in the majesty of it all. Super Mario Galaxy takes the very simple Carl Sagan quote and gives it such rich depth without making too much of a point about it. Rosalina is not just the Luma's mother, she's the mother of all things, and she cares so deeply for her children. In such a subtle way, Super Mario Galaxy elevates itself. It interconnects all things within its own universe and invites the player to look at it all from a different perspective. And so, the ending where Mario looks up and sees a whole new universe, not unlike the last one, but unique in its own way, is so fitting that what once was can never be again, but the very foundation of it sits within each and every object, within each and every one of us. The universe is always in flux, so we must cherish the time we get with it as much as we can before it changes into something new for the next generation of the Intrepidatious. If anything, Super Mario Galaxy is fundamentally about the law of conservation of matter and energy. Matter and energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed into different forms. The matter and energy Mario is made of is the very same matter and energy from the origin of all things, and is the same matter and energy that will be there when all is said and done. Yes, I know. A children's game about a goofy-ass Italian-American plumber hurtling through the cosmos is somehow a stunning space opera about one of the most fundamental laws of physics. And you know what? It's beautiful. Super Mario Galaxy is so incredibly special. It takes Mario and sends him through the cosmos on a journey of subtle introspection, a journey through the strangest and most bizarre spaces, across a world filled with galaxies and wonders beyond the wildest imagination. It fills the cosmos with visions of grandeur and sounds of a massive symphony. It creates a space opera of pure imagination and creativity, and it wraps it all up with a neat little bow. A revelation that all things are interconnected, and that the time we get to spend exploring should be cherished forever, as all things are always in motion, and will always stay in motion. Such is Mother Nature's way. Well, that was my retro review of Super Mario Galaxy. This game is so near and dear to me. It was a major part of my childhood, and I have so many fond memories of playing this game. Spending time with my dad, or sneaking into his save file to see what it looked like. Exploring the cosmos and all its oddities. It's just one of those games that, if I lost all my memories, I'd have to have people get me to experience it again for the first time. It enriched me with a love for space, science fiction, and science fantasy. I know this game in and out, and it never stops surprising or inspiring me. There's just something so unique about Super Mario Galaxy, and it's truly a game that everyone should play at least once. Ultimately, that's why I made this video, and it's the direction I want to take with the Retro Review series. I want to take a look at older games, whether it be ones I played myself in childhood, or classics I've yet to get to. I want to look at the world of gaming and really get into what makes those timeless classics oh so special. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment about a game you'd like to see me cover, and check out the rest of the channel if you're interested. Anyways, I've got to get back to my stargazing.
Space.